Hey divas. Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Mic check, mic check. Before I go too far, can you please put a one in the chat? Oh, I'm sorry, I got another background. Can you please put a one in the chat? Let me know you can hear me. Put a one in the chat. Let me know you can hear me. Do I sound good? Do I sound good? How is everybody doing? Yes, okay. I see a one. Hey divas, welcome to Pink Table Topics. I am your host and good sis, Pink Diva. Thank you so much for joining me. As you're pulling your seat up to the table, don't forget to hit the like button. Feel free to drop down and leave a comment. Engage in the conversation and turn your bell notifications on so that you'll be notified each and every time I drop a new topic. As you know, our mission is to create a safe space for women to gather as a community, engage in healthy dialogue regarding real life issues that we as women deal with on a daily basis, but most importantly, to foster the true meaning of sisterhood. And if you are here, that means you are subscribed and representing the Diva tribe, and not just any diva. We are divine, we are inspiring, we are valiant, and we are admirable. Welcome to the table, divas. How is everybody doing? Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you for taking the time out of your Tuesday evening to pull up to the table and rock with me tonight. I appreciate you. You know, I have to be courteous when you come to my house. Let me go around the table and do my Divas roll call. Thank you, thank you, thank you to my mod and to one of my favorite divas, Teresa. Hey, Teresa, thanks for joining, sis. Thanks for modding. To my sister from another Mr. Chit Chat with QT. Hey, sis. Thank you so much for modding for me, sis. I know you're still working over there, but thank you for pulling up. I appreciate you. Hey, Deborah. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Hey, my degree is real. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you for being here. How is everybody doing? How was your Tuesday? How was your weekend? How was your day? I was super busy today. I have an event this coming Saturday. So I've been blowing balloons today and yesterday, trying to multitask a little bit. And that's what I've been doing. That's exactly what I've been doing. But I appreciate you all for being here. I am not going to hold you all long today. But before we get started, shout out to Melody Cherie and the Four Piece Nuggets and the family enjoying themselves over in St. Thomas. I got so much joy in just seeing them all in good spirits, jet setting and making lifelong memories that the kiddos will be able to look back on when they grow up. I was like, OMG. I really, really did enjoy seeing them. They just seem like they're just so happy when they're with her. And I just really, really love seeing, as a single mom to four babies, I really, really love seeing her in that element. And she's actually taking them out of the country and just sharing. And my degree is real, say Sugar Mama stole the show. Yes, she did. I just really, really enjoyed her, and just making those beautiful memories that they'll be able to look back on when they grow up. This is what we do at Mama's house. We take flights, right? We catch flights, not feelings. So I really enjoy seeing them. Really enjoyed seeing Marcus there, Mama Van, just really experiencing something like that. It's amazing. It's amazing. Melody Cherie is doing the darn thing as a single mother. And I love to see it. I love to see it. I was like, oh my goodness. And did you all see that skit? The scream I scrumped. Listen, I was so tickled because I had to go back and watch it because when I saw it the first time when I was looking at it, and I'm sitting there like, Marcus, that's a nice room. I'm like, what you mean you don't like that room? That's a nice room. You have a whole balcony you can walk out on and you can see the view. And then I was like, wait a minute. I say, no, they did not pull a Love and Marriage Huntsville skit. When I say I cackle, did y'all see it? Oh my goodness. Yes, sis. Love seeing Mel in the family. Teresa said, yes, I love it. I'm going to St. Thomas for my birthday since we're not meeting with the cutie crew till next year. Oh, that is going to be fun. I went to St. Thomas when I did a cruise year before, no, 2 years ago, when I did a cruise and we went to St. Thomas. But it was beautiful. So I can only imagine when you're actually there on the actual resort itself, on the island itself, because when the cruise is port, they're just like on the ports and not really on the inside, basically, of the actual island. But that view was amazing. I was like, oh my goodness. Yes, Marcus is a mess. He's like, you mean to tell me this is my room? Oh my goodness. That was hilarious. Sis said Teresa and Debbie talked to me earlier about the trip. I may see who still wants to go this year. Okay. Let me know if we want to go, sis. I just need dates so I can prepare. I'm always down for a girls trip. But I thought that was so funny. I thought that was so hilarious to see them in that element. That was so funny to me. I was like, look at Mel. And look, and Sugar Mama has really grown up. I really hate that we don't really get to see them a lot outside of, when Miss Van post post their pictures and stuff like that. That's the only time we really get to see them in that element. But I was so glad to actually see him. And I was like, Sugar Mama has really gotten tall. I say, look at her. Oh my goodness, those babies are really growing up right before our eyes. And it is such a pleasure to see. Okay, sis said we'll chat tomorrow. Teresa said Tank grew up. He sounds like a little man. He surely does. Those babies are tall. Oh my goodness. And Sugar Mama says she's not a baby anymore. I was too tickled though, but that was so funny. It was so good to see them out there enjoying themselves out on the water on a nice beachfront property. I say, okay, Melody Cherie, we see you. We see you. Yes, she did say that, Teresa. She said, my name is not Sugar Mama, it's Milani. She's a big girl now. It's just so fun to see that she has come into her own little personality. And she's a big girl now. And we have really watched those babies grow right before our eyes. We have really watched them grow. And it is so fun to see. Yes, sis, them nuggets are really growing up. My degree is real said when Sugar Mama said that, I laughed. I did too. I said, look at her. She's like, I'm not a baby. And she's so articulate to be her age. Because Mel said, oh, you're not Sugar Mama. She said, you're not my baby anymore. She said, well, not like crawling around on the floor. And I was like, now, for her age to know how to differentiate a baby being a baby crawling on the floor versus you calling me your baby. I was like, look at Sugar Mama. So such well-rounded babies. But shout out to Melody Cherie and them 4-piece nuggets. Oh my goodness. So we're gonna talk about tonight. As I said, I'm not gonna hold y'all long, but I wanted to have this discussion. A lot of times I'll be sitting around the house reading a book or listening to a podcast, watching a movie or something like that. And I always try to pull like little nuggets out of what I'm reading or what I'm watching. And I wanted to talk about this topic. Do you think it's wrong for women to cheat back? Do you think it's wrong for women to cheat back? Now, have you cheated back? Did you get your lick back? We'll talk about that when we get further into our discussion, because I'm interested in knowing, but I want to hear your I want to hear you all's take on the topic. When women cheat back. Hey, how I see it. How are you? Thanks for joining, Diva. I appreciate you. So, how I see it said no thousands of times. Listen, I wanted to know because I want to know why is it that when we as women, when women do to men what they do to us, we are ridiculed. Why are we considered horrors, scandalous in thoughts when we decide to get our lick back? Hey, LaDawn. How are you, Diva? Thanks so much for pulling up. I appreciate you. Hey, Overcomer. How are you? Thanks so much for joining. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. But I want to know, why is it that when women decide to cheat back, we're in the wrong? And I want to know, do y'all think it's wrong? I mean, now let's keep it real. We all know that two wrongs don't make it right. We get that. We know that two wrongs don't make it right. I understand. But where do we draw the line? And this is where I'm coming from. I was watching a Lifetime movie, and it was this married couple. The husband had been cheating for over half the relationship. After, of course, the wife went through her moments of what did I do wrong? What can I change about myself to make him not cheat? She thought she was overweight, so she went on this whole binge to try to lose weight. She thought it was because she was chasing her career because she was studying to get her law degree. And she thought that it was because she didn't have enough time. And maybe that's why he decided to cheat. But even after all that, he still cheated. Even after she went through trying to change all of these things about her, she stopped working as many hours as she was working. She really, really did put in the work to try to make it right. She really did. And even after all of that, he still cheated. He kept cheating. Excuse me. He never stopped. He never stopped. So she then realized after a while, after doing all of that and seeing that, okay, obviously what I'm doing still didn't get his attention, still didn't draw him back into the house. He's still cheating. He's still coming in late. He's still sneaking around on his phone or silencing his phone. She finally realized, it took her a minute, but she finally realized that it wasn't her. It was nothing that she was or was not doing that caused him to cheat. It was just who he was. And that's one of the most common things that we do as women, which I hate that so much. When we experience infidelity in our relationships, we always, for whatever reason, tend to think it was something that we could have done differently. We always try to, we always go through this moment of, what am I not doing to please him? What am I not doing to satisfy him? Maybe I should cook more, or, maybe I should please him actually more, or, just we're always looking at the, what did I do? And it's almost like an instant thing that we do. We always tend to internalize what he did to us. We always bring it back to us instead of realizing that it's never our fault that he cheated. It's not your fault that he cheated. He cheated because he's just who he is, and it has nothing to do with what you are or are not doing. And you can be doing everything right. And if that's what he want to do, that's what he will do. So I really, really hope that we can find ourselves at a point to where we can get out of always trying to look down on ourselves or blame ourselves for, the men being disloyal. Because again, like I say, you can be doing everything right, and he'll still find a reason to dishonor his commitment to the relationship. And I'm not talking about just in marriages, I'm talking about committed relationships as well. If we are both two consenting adults that said that we're in this monogamous relationship together, we're not seeing any outside people, that is a committed relationship. And when we are walking that path, our expectations of each other is that we are not going to have other people in and out of our relationship, meaning no cheating. And we know a lot of us, I know I was taught back in the day. I remember hearing my grandmother say this all the time. Men would be men. And and that's just something that I never understood, nor did I believe it, because what does that mean? What does that mean? And I heard it so much. My grandmother used to say that all the time. Men will be men. And I'm trying to figure out, were they telling us that it was okay because they were just going to be men? I mean, what was that exactly? Are you saying just let him cheat in peace, let him continue to do what he's doing, and I just sit back and I just take it because he's a man? So when I decide, okay, cool, two can play that game, and then I go out and decide to get my lick back, then I'm wrong, right? Make it make sense. So in this scenario, the wife did get her lick back eventually. She cheated back. Um, then the husband started to notice that the wife was no longer questioning his whereabouts anymore. She stopped asking him where he was going. She stopped checking his phone. She was just letting him do him. She stopped sweating him. She didn't ask any questions. She let him come and go as he pleased. And she just let him cheat in peace, basically. And here's the kicker. He was cheating with one of her ex-best friends. He was cheating with one of her ex-best friends, somebody that she had confided in him about, talking to him about why the relationship fell apart and all of that kind of stuff. Only come to find out that the relationship failed because the friendship failed because the girl was sneaking around with her husband. But she didn't know this at the time. She had no idea what it was, but she was sharing it with her husband, how she felt, because she was really broken about the fact that, her girlfriend was no longer friends. And he was like, you know how you women are, y'all catty and all of that kind of stuff. And at this point, like I say, she didn't know who the chick was that he was cheating with. She just knew he was cheating. So what happened with her is she found comfort in a coworker, somebody from her job. You know how it is. It's easy to, if you've had like a work related, like a little fling at work, and you start getting close and you start sharing stuff about what's going on at home and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what she started hanging out with him. She started, he asked her to take her out for a drink. And she just started to share. And at this point, she did not share with him what was going on in her marriage, that there was infidelity or anything like that. But she just started sharing how she was feeling about certain things in her marriage and all of that kind of stuff. And he never tried to come on to her. It really was all her move. It was what she wanted to do. So she did cheat back. She got her lick back. But what happened was, then the husband started getting suspicious, because how dare you stop questioning me about where I am, what I'm doing. She used to, when he would be out on his little rendezvous, she used to call his phone, would just like blow his phone up, leave him messages like, where are you? You're not responding. So she stopped doing all of that. At this point, it was basically after the point she went through the stage of what did I do or did not do right. After she went through that, it was almost like she was going through a process of healing, a process of being in denial that he was actually cheating because that's just who he was and it was nothing to do with her. It seems like after she overcame that, she just had this like newfound aura about herself to where, basically like F that Negro, pretty much. Because at this point, she was just like over it. So she did started a relationship with the coworker. And not a relationship. It was just like he was a confidant. She was confiding in him. They would go out to have drinks and all of that. And he really was very respectful. He did not come on to her or anything. It was like I say, it was all her. But he put a tracker, the husband put a tracker on her phone because you know how sometimes men, tends to seem like some men want you to sweat them. Some men want you to chase them. Like, and when did we as women start chasing men? We don't chase men. Again, we're the prize. We hold the power. And a lot of times you just got to let them know I'm the prize. I'm the one that's holding the power. You're going to chase me. I'm not doing any chasing. So that's basically the point that she had gotten to. And he started to get suspicious with her because he knew basically she was his good girl, because this is what he shared with his friend when he found out, or when he became suspicious of her cheating. Then of course he wanted to stay at home all the time. Now he was suspicious of her. Now he wanted to stay at home all the time. And he was sharing with one of his guy friends that he was like, something is off with her. Like, she used to come home straight after work. She used to always be home. I knew she could always be home. She was like my good girl. And this is the thing, and this is why I say we have to be careful as women, because men will prey on you, especially when they know you are a good woman. They will try to get with you because they know you are a good girl, you are a good woman, you're not for the streets, and you really got yourself together, and you out here doing the darn thing. And they'll do that because they know I can still do what I'm doing, and I know she's not going to catch me because she at home. She's not for the street. She don't do the clubs, the bars, or hanging out and all of that stuff. She don't have a lot of friends. She's kind of to herself and about her business. Men will actually prey on you when they recognize that in you. That's why we have to be careful when we are choosing these men that we kicking it with and hanging out with, especially before getting in relationships with them. We just really have to be mindful of their motives, because their motives aren't always right. It's not our fault. It's their fault, because they're just not good people. That's just all it is. It has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with us missing that red flag. Because again, like Sis and I was talking either yesterday or today, we said there shouldn't be a red flag anyway. We should just expect that, if we're coming into this relationship or this companionship, I shouldn't have to worry about there being a red flag with you. You should just be a good human because I'm a good human, right? But we just really have to be careful, because these men really will be out here preying on who you are because they know you have this good girl status. So they don't expect you to get your lick back. They just expect that, oh, she's a good girl. And I can remember this happened with my best friend, one of my best friends that still live back home in Mississippi. Her husband was this guy. Like, he had cheated so many times. And, and I was like, girl, you good, because I would have been gone. You're a good one. But she hung in there because her family, her mother and father has been married for over 30 years. And so she wanted her marriage to work. It was to the point to where he, on several occasions, had moved out of the marital home, moved in with another chick. So she would file for divorce. He would be served the divorce papers. Then he would come back. That was his tactic all the time. He would remove himself from the marital home. She filed for divorce. And then the last time he stayed gone, it was a total of 30 days. I remember this like it was yesterday. He stayed gone for 30 days. And she said, okay, I'm done with the back and forth. I'm just going to file for, they have two daughters together. She filed for divorce. So he was like, well, you can file for divorce. You're not going to get no child support and all of this kind of stuff. But come to find out, of course, she did get child support because they shared 2 kids. And when their first child support check hit that check, now all of a sudden he wants to come back home. But when he comes back home, and this is what I try to tell people all the time, especially dudes, like when you stepping out, who you think stepping in? Who used to sing that song? It used to be a song that used to say, while you stepping out, somebody else is stepping in. Was that Betty Wright? To my blues people, I don't know who used to sing that song, but I try to tell people all the time, like, because I had a lot of guy friends. And we've had these conversations. We've talked about this whole male versus female type thing and how men are. And, and one of my good guy friends always used to tell me, he was like, men just don't expect their women to cheat back, especially if he have like a good girl. And so he really did not expect her to cheat back. And here's the thing, she did not cheat back, but I guess if we can technically say conversating with another man is considered cheating. I guess it depends on how you look at it, but they had conversations, and their conversations, it became an, I think an emotional connection, I would say. They more so had an emotional relationship. And after having that conversation with him, it's like they became really, really close. He would text her like, "Hey, beautiful, how are you? Good morning," this, that, and the other. And this is back in the day, y'all. So we listen and we don't judge. Okay. So that's my best friend. So anyway, I have my two best friends live in Mississippi. I'm all the way in Wisconsin, right? So they call me and they're like, "Hey, sis." They's like, "Just in case somebody call you, we at your house." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what do you mean?" I'm the alibi now. And we used to do this all the time. It's so funny. So they called me. They was like, "Look, we're on our way to Colorado." And I said, "What in the world is in Colorado?" Remember I told you this guy she was talking to on the phone. But anyway, he flew them out to Colorado because he was working there on a job at the time. This was years ago, y'all. We was young and dumb. We did some stuff. We ain't always been innocent now. We ain't always been the cutesy and demure and princely little women that we are today. I don't know about y'all. We all got some history. But anyway, he flew them out to Colorado. And I didn't know I was the alibi until they called me and was like, "Hey, sis, just in case, if anybody call, we in Wisconsin." And I was like, "No, y'all ain't. What do you mean you in Wisconsin?" It's like, "We at your house, heifer." And I was like, "Okay, well, fill me in." So she told me whatever was going on. So he flew her out. They did that little thing, ended up going back home. Then the husband ended up moving back. And keep in mind, he had removed himself from the marital home into the house with another woman. So let's keep that in mind. He is living with another woman. He moved out of his marital home into the house with this chick that he was messing around with for 30 whole days. So, and she didn't do this until months down the line. Let's keep the timeline there. Anyway, after all of that, he decides that I want to come back home and work it out. He decides he wanted to come back home and work it out. Again, she and this guy still have a emotional connection. They still check periodically, but she did tell him, he's back home. He said he want to work it out and this, that, and the other. And he was like, "Okay, I'll fall back, but you know how to reach me." And so one day he came home. And mind you, this is the person who had been cheating the entire time that they had, over half the amount of time that they had been together. So he decides now he wants to come back and try to work it out. After he comes back and decide he want to work it out, it was just, his demeanor was totally different. So she was taking a shower one day and she left her phone in the bedroom on the dresser. While she was in the shower, he was going through her phone. Now, mind you, they used to be really, really good at making sure they deleted their messages and all of this kind of stuff. And again, whatever message she had was prior to him saying that he wanted to work it out and get back on track. What happened was he ended up finding a text message in her phone. It was nothing bad. It just said, "Good morning, beautiful." That's all it said. It wasn't anything other than that. So he was calling the number back, trying to find out who it was that was on the other end of the phone. And it went to his voicemail. So he knew that the phone number belonged to a male, but he didn't know who it was. And he didn't know who it was. And long story short, after he found out that there was a text message between her and another guy, he blew a gasket. Do you hear me? When I say it was almost like this Negro forgot that he had been cheating for years. I'm talking having actual relationships with women, cheating for years. And she basically was having, yes, she was, if you want to consider that cheating, conversating with another man while married, it is what it is. But it hadn't gotten to the point to where she left the marital home and was living with the guy. Now, keep in mind, he moved out of the marital home and was living with a chick for 30 whole days. But my thing is, what do you think she's doing while you over there doing you for 30 days? Like, what's fair game? To me, if you moved out of the home and you actually living over there with another chick and her kid, and we got 2 kids in our marital home, and you moved out for 30 days. When I say, I don't know what it was that came over him when he saw that text message, it was like he was a new Negro. When I say this fool came home every day straight after work, he didn't go out anymore. He constantly wanted to check her phone. She would call me every day. When I say every day she got off work, she would come through the door. She was like, he asking me who this person is every single day. Who is this Negro texting your phone? Oh, you cheating? Oh, this what we doing? Keep in mind, again, he been cheating over half the relationship. But now you and your feelings, because now you see somebody else showed interest in what you have, and now it's a problem, right? It's a problem. So again, 30 whole days he had moved out. But the fact, and I think it was killing him more because he didn't know who it was. He did not know who the person was, and that was killing him more than, that was killing him more than anything. But when I say I used to cackle because she would call me, she would like, "Sis, if this Negro come in this door one more time asking me who I've been talking to and who was in my face," and it was to the point to where after that, he started to come to her job, show up at her job to make sure she was at work. He just randomly pop up. He would randomly just go through her phone. It was so bad. And I was sitting here. And so this is why this conversation took me back to that, because I'm trying to understand, like, what clicked at this point that made you feel like this couldn't have been going on the whole time you were gone for 30 days, or all the years that you were cheating, coming home late when you did come home. Why is it all of a sudden now it's this huge deal? Because when I was talking to you about this in our relationship, when I was like, what am I doing, to cause you to want to cheat? Or why are you cheating? Are you cheating? When it was me, you didn't have no conversation. You were telling me I was paranoid. You were telling me, no, it's not what you see. It's not what it seems like. So why is it that there is this double standard when it comes to the man versus the female, when it comes to the cheating and the cheat back? Why is it that now I'm the worst person in the world because I got my lick back, but you cheated for me for years? And this one time I decided to say, okay, well, let me just go see what this is all about then, to get my lick back. Then, come on now. Why is it that it's such a double standard? Can somebody in the chat, tell me, why is it that it is such a double standard when it comes to men and women with the whole cheating thing? Why is it looked on women as a bad thing, but it's okay for the man to do it? Because why do they keep getting passes because they're the man? That is one of the things that I struggle with. Can somebody help me out? Let me read some comments. Let me read some comments. Let me see. Overcomer says, yes, because women get too emotional, invested in their relationships. Yes, we do. We're emotional creatures. We are emotional creatures. And my thing is, and just like, let's say the whole marriage thing and infidelity happens. There are some people who can actually, let's take away it even being about a marriage. Let's just talking about a relationship period, because if we're in a monogamous relationship, we shouldn't be cheating either. But let's just say infidelity happened. There are some people who can work through that and say, you know what, you cheated, I cheated, we're gonna make this thing work, we're gonna fight for our relationship. I get that, and there's nothing wrong with that, but cheating is a no for me. Everybody is different. Cheating is a no, especially when I find out, because if it's going on and I don't know it, there's something different. But when I do know it, it's a wrap, because I don't do shared property. I'm selfish when it comes to my man. I'm not sharing with nobody because I know you wouldn't want to keep that same energy. And let me tell you, baby, my get back is some get back. You talking about I'm going to Pettyville and I don't care how you feel about it. I'm going to get my lick back and then I'm still gonna leave. I don't do with the whole cheating thing because I know I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. It wouldn't be, it's not something that I would go out and do in my relationship. When I'm down for you, I'm down for you. That's how I am when it comes to my relationship. But when you cross me, I'm getting my lick back. That's just how petty I am. I am going to get my lick back. Feel how you feel. It is what it is. LaDawn said, to each his own. I haven't, but don't know if I would. You don't really know until you're in it. You're right, sis. Hey Cheryl, thanks for joining. My degree is real said Trump's first wife Ivanka said, why get mad? Get everything. That part. Don't get mad. My thing is, my response is keep that same energy. Keep that same energy, because you had no remorse for me when you were out here doing it. And my thing about it, the thing that really gets me and why I'm so against the whole cheating thing, and it's a wrap for me, because you will never be able to allow another woman to hold anything over my head. There's no way I can walk outside to the grocery store, wherever we go, hand in hand with you, knowing that you've been with somebody else, and just knowing that another woman is out there laughing at me talking about, oh, I had him last week. No, sir, you won't get that to me. So like I say, when I know it, it's a wrap. And if I feel something, I'm going to start paying attention to those signs that I'm seeing and those feelings that I'm having. But if I know that you out here cheating, you don't get a second chance with me. That's a no-go. It's a wrap at first sight. It's no, we can do it, because I know me, and I'll never be able to look past it, because it'll always be in the back of my mind. And that's just something I won't be able to let go, just like bringing in the outside baby. I know that's something I'll never be able to let go, and I'm just going to save us both the trouble, and we just going to end it and cut it off right there, because I know I can't do it. I won't do it. Teresa said, there's nothing you can do to keep a cheater from cheating at all. At all. Overcomer says, a real man knows how to stay committed in their relationship. Absolutely. I 100% agree. It's just those selfish Negroes out there that wants their cake and eat it too, that decides that they want to cheat with 3, 4, 5 different women. And it's too much going on. It's too many diseases out there, especially the majority of the ones who you out there just raw dogging it, as they call it. You ain't even trying to use protection. Now that is low and disrespectful. Teresa said, I wouldn't cheat just because he cheat, but once I find out, we will no longer share the bed, and I'm bouncing. That part. And I don't think it's more so a I don't think it's more so a I'm gonna do it to get you back, because at that point, when it gets to the point to where I'm stepping out, that means I'm on my way out the door anyway. Um, but I can't say I have not cheated to get my lick back. That was before marriage now, but I have got my lick back. Sis said wife got her back broke, toe off. You hear me, sis? Girl, we still cackle about that today. I say, look at me being petty. So I'm like, yes, she at my house. Because all we used to do was, I'm going to call you on three-way and make it seem like you here, but I know you ain't even here. You all the way in Colorado. But that was my girl. I ride for mine. Hey, Bridget. She says, hi, Pink Diva. I'm late hustling at work. Get that money, baby. Get that money. Teresa said, I think I saw that movie, but it's so many similar on Lifetime. It is so many similar, but it was super, super good. But what he ended up doing was he ended up putting a car tag on her car. What do you call those? Whatever that car tag thing is. He put one of those on a car tracker on her car to track, to see where she was going. And he followed her. She had parked her car at a Target. She parked her car at a parking structure at Target, hopped in the car with the dude, the co-worker guy that she had been talking to, and he followed them. He waited until they got to this bar, which was far out, and he walked in on her. I'm like, how dare you be mad? Like, boy, go home. Teresa said, a work husband, as they call it. Yep, that's exactly what it was. Hey, Miss Lady, thanks for joining. I appreciate you for being here. My degree is real said, this is the saying, when we stop asking questions, you better be concerned. That part, when I stop caring, you better start caring, because then at that point, it's like I'm out of my feelings. I'm over those emotions. I'm out of here. Do you? Because I'm going to do me, basically. How I see it said, or saying that a woman can't do what a man does and still be a lady. All of that is to uphold the patriarchy so women don't go explore their desires like the man does. I don't subscribe to those ideas, and neither do I, because what's good for the geese is good for the gander. If you do me, I'm going to do you. I'm going to get my lick back. You won't be able to tell nobody. You won't be able to tell nobody. Hey, Angela. Angela Richardson is here. Hey, sis. Thanks so much for joining. And the kicker, those same men will want to harm you if you do what they do. Absolutely. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Don't dish it if you can't take it. If you can't take it, don't dish it. Bridget J., you said there was Johnny Taylor who's stepping in while you stepping out. Hey, Brittany Janae. Hey, sis. Or Bobby Womack. I was checking out. It was one of them, because I used to listen to it. My mama used to play those good old blues songs back in the day. Hey, Keisha. Hey, sis. Thanks for joining. Hey, Gia. How are you? Thanks for joining. Sis said, child, more power to your BFF. Sis, we on the same page. We are on the same page. Right. You snooze, you lose. Bridget said, ooh, child, he was doing too much. Girl, doing too much. Right, Brittany? It's all fair game. It's all fair game. If you can't take it, don't dish it. Exactly, Gia. It's always a double standard for them. Yes, it is. Sis said it was fair game, whether he moved out or not. That part. You cheating. Hey, baby girl. Thanks for joining. Overcomer said, but that's what he did. That's exactly what he did, but they can't take it. They can't take what they dished out. Girl, they'd be about to have a whole heart attack if they find out you're doing something. Sis said that's how it is. They'll straighten up quick. Gia. Gia said Martell Hope behavior, period. Hey, Royal. Hey, sis. Thanks for joining. Baby girl said, yep, they can't take us riding a new car and don't know who the owner. Girl, not riding a new car. Right, my degree is real. Psycho behavior. How I see it said is realizing that she can absolutely find another. Men feel like a woman isn't desirable at a certain age or when they have multiple kids. That's a great point, because you are so right. for whatever reason they haven't, because I had two girls when I was going through my divorce, and that's exactly what my ex-husband told me. Ain't nobody gonna want you with two kids. I said, I can show you better than I can tell you, because I know my power. And it wasn't even about that to me, but they try to say that to kind of try to make you feel bad, because typically when a man is saying something, believe the opposite of what he's saying, because that's exactly what he means. He means the opposite of what he's saying. They already know. Like I've been a bad one since before I got him, so I know I would be able to get somebody after him. And the thing was too, I didn't have low self-esteem. I ain't never had low self-esteem. I've always been confident in who I was. I've always been self-aware. I always had self-love. So I never had to worry about, him making me feel a certain way by saying those things. Now, I'm not saying I've always done that when I was younger. Of course, we've gone through situations, relationships and stuff when we're going through those little situations before we got to our wiser years. We went through stuff and had to deal with some stuff. But baby, I got my lick back. Ain't no way you can do me and think I ain't gonna get my lick back. Even if I am leaving, I know I'm leaving the relationship or we breaking up or whatever the case, but I'm getting my lick back. You gonna feel my exit. Call me petty. Right. They can't handle when we do it. Baby girl said, or check this. I was in a whole relationship and made sure to post it too. You didn't want me, sir. Remember that part. You gonna see all this. I ain't blocking you from nothing. You gonna see all of this, and then I'm gonna block you. Also, if the man is the provider in the relationship, he feels that the woman will be too scared to step out for fair, that she won't find someone willing to provide at the same level. Absolutely. And that's why I preach all day long. Women, get your own stuff. Have your own money. If my mama didn't teach me nothing else, she told me always to have me a stash put somewhere just in case I had to leave. I didn't have to worry about him locking, freezing the bank accounts and not giving me access to money. Always have your own pot. And I did exactly that. And that's the same thing that I teach my girls. Stop being out here depending on these men to be the sole providers. He can provide, take your money and put it in your account. Let him continue to be the head of the household and pay all the bills and do all of that. Yeah, that's fine and dandy, but always have you an emergency stash put away, because you just don't ever know when you may need it. And I thank God that I listened and I had that, because it made it easier for me to maneuver when I was leaving my relationship, because I did have money put aside, because when I was getting ready to divorce him, he tried to throw out every roadblock there was to keep me from leaving, from putting sugar in my car tank and cutting my tires, just doing things that would keep my vehicle in the shop, because he knew if I didn't have a vehicle, I couldn't leave. Just little petty stuff to keep me from leaving. And this is what I don't understand. I don't know where these soft Negroes came from. Like, y'all will go out here and do all of this stuff. And then when we decide that we tired of it and we fed up, then all of a sudden now y'all having hissy fits. Now, how dare you want to leave me for out here in the streets making you look like a fool, doing what I want to do, but how dare you try to leave me? Like, who does that? Like, who? I don't understand it. And I tell people all the time, especially I have this conversation with my friends that have boys, that are raising boys. I say, please don't be raising these boys to be soft. Let these boys, teach these boys about rejection. Teach them that it's okay to show emotion and to cry and feel. Just teach them that it's okay to feel, because they're human. Because then if we train these boys up to grow up to be soft men, they don't know how to handle rejection. They are dating with the wrong intent. These are the type of men, when you grooming and growing these, raising these soft boys, and y'all are sheltering and coddling these boys, they grow up to be a Martell. They grow up to be a DDG, and I'm sick of him. They grow up to be these type of men, to where now, since you feel like you can't control me, now you want to do the one thing that would bother me more than anything, and that's try to taint my image. This is how those type of men operate. They can't handle rejection. And then when things don't go their way and you decide to set boundaries with them, they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to handle it. Sis said it's always been a double standard. Technically, it's not okay for either. However, in my Kimmy voice, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. That part, that part. Baby girl said men think they are above women in a way. You have to be as ruthless as a man when it's over because they don't care. Absolutely. I totally agree. Hey Tia. Tia said she's in the bushes because I'm not home. A little triggered. I don't understand it either. Okay, sis, thanks for joining. I don't understand it either, but thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you. Hey Juan, thanks for joining. How are you? Good to see you. Baby girl said the minute you cheat or act like you don't want me, baby instant, no contact. I know that's right. Hey Cece. Thanks for joining, sis. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. My degree says when I was younger, my anger was 0 to 100. Once my ex cheated on me, and I almost made his back a dartboard with a pair of scissors. And that day, I promised myself I would never allow someone to push me that far. I totally agree. Sometimes they'll take us there. They'll take us there. When we learn better, we do better, though. Baby girl said, when you get older, you just leave now. It's a wrap. Yeah, but that's the thing. They don't want they don't want you to leave when you want to leave. And that's another thing that just really has always bothered me. You wanted everything outside of our home. You wanted every Sue, Sally, and horror outside of our home. But then when I decide to say, okay, you can do that, I'll just leave. Now all of a sudden you don't want that anymore. You don't want me to leave, and you do everything to keep me from leaving. I will never understand that. Hey Linda Gamble is in the house. Thank you so much for joining. How are you? Hey, I am blessed. Pecan Pam. Thanks Diva for pulling up. She says happy Tuesday, sis. Pink Diva and chat. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Baby girl said I got my lick back and a tune up, girl, not a tune up. She said, I got a whole tune up, and I am not. We listen and we don't judge, okay? Once the contract is breached, we now both have the right to do what we want in the relationship until either of us decides to leave. I agree. I totally agree. Gia says, I always say, don't complain because I'm asking. Be worried because I stopped. That part. And I think that's a lot of us as women. We tend to always want to get an understanding about what's going on, like what are we doing here. And I don't understand why. And again, I know it's because they want their cake and eat it too, but I just don't understand why they can't just be men about it. Just tell me that you don't want me. I will respect you more if you just come out and tell me, like, this ain't working. I don't want this anymore. I don't understand what's so hard about them just deciding. And again, I get it because you want what you have at home, but you also want the freedom to be able to do whatever it is you do with the thoughts out in the street. You want to be able to do that because you don't want to break up your comfortability with what you have at home because you're complacent. That's your safe space, because this person that you're messing with 9 times out of 10 ain't really got it going on like the wife or the significant other at home. So you want to just be able to dip in and out, but then when that goes sour, you always got home to come back to. And I think that's why a lot of them are like they are, because we at home, the woman at home becomes the safe haven, the safe space, and they know they always have that to come back to when things out in the street don't go that way. But who knows? Men would be men, right? Brittany said, I got my lick back before I enjoy every minute of it. Listen, who hasn't gotten a lick back? I know at some point we've all got a lick back somehow. It may not have been cheating. It may not have been cheating. And again, we listen and we don't judge, y'all. We haven't always been who we are today. We have grown, we learned better, and we do better. But some of us been outside a little bit. We've been outside a little bit. How I see it said, right. Their ego would never allow them to tell a soul that their woman cheated back. Ever. Angela said, good topic. Wish I can chat, but I'm driving. Be careful, sis. Be careful. How I see it said, Offset out here crashing out online because Cardi moved on when the whole time he was cheating. Exactly. And that's the thing. Why you crashing out? Because she decided to move on, or just let you do you. Hey, Yazzie. Thanks for joining. How are you? I don't understand where the crash out comes in at. Hey, Al. She says she's listening in the bushes on her way home. Be careful, sis. Thanks for listening in. I appreciate you. Thank you. Let me see. Let me read some more comments. My degree says want their cake and eat it too. Absolutely. Sis said they can't take what they dish out. I've got my lick back and gave zero flux at all. Period. As the kids say, period. Yazzie, I'm def team cheat back, even if they never find out. Cheat back, then check the deuces, period. That point. Bridget said, I've always got my lick back. Did. My degree says my lick back dated someone far younger than my ex. Ooh, child. Oh my goodness. Listen, I am not mad at you. I remember one time, and this is where our intuition comes from. I remember one time when I was dating this guy years ago, and he wanted to, and mind you, I've always had my own stuff. Like, I've always had my own house. I've always had my own vehicles. If I was kicking it with a dude, it was always him living with me. This was back in the day. They would be living with me. I never lived or moved into a man's home. I never lived with him. It was always my stuff. And that was something that my mom always told me, always have your own stuff, because then when you decide to put him out, you can pack his little garbage bag and he can get to stepping and you don't have to be displaced. So make sure you always have your own stuff and just keep yourself in a position to where it's your own stuff. Okay, if you don't want to be here and I don't want to deal with you anymore, then you have to leave. I'm not the one that would have to leave. So I'm thankful that I was just trained and brought up that way, to always have my own stuff and to have my own money, so that I didn't have to deal with that. And so anyway, I was dating this dude and he was living with me at the time. We dated, he was living with me. He pursued me, but neither one of us was in a relationship at the time, but he was living with me and was driving my vehicle. Back in the day, I used to do hair, y'all. I used to be a whole hairstylist. Back in the day, I used to do hair. So on weekends, I was doing hair the whole weekend. Like, that was my life. I worked Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I was doing hair out of my home. And he would always want to use my car when he knew I was doing hair. And he was like, I'm going to go hang out with the guys. I didn't think nothing about it because I'm doing hair. I'm getting my money. So I wasn't the type of person that was going to just chase people. I didn't chase me. And I feel like if it was meant for me to know, it'll come to me. That's just how I was. I didn't go looking for nothing, because the thing about it is, when you go looking for something, be prepared for what you find. Be prepared for what your next step gonna be when you go looking for it. So I never went looking for anything. But people would tell me, and the thing about it is, it was his own guys that used to be telling me what he was doing. Because I remember, like I told y'all, I had more guy friends than I had girlfriends back in the day. And my brother was very popular. I had a brother that, do whatever you want to do to anybody, but you better not touch my sister. I had that kind of brother. So he had all the guys in town, just like, we can't mess with her because we know who her brother is. So all of his guy friends considered me their little sister. So whenever my brother wasn't there, because my brother lived in Chicago, moved to Chicago during this time. but his guys would always just pop up at my house like, sis, you good? You need anything? And that's just how they roll. You know, they protected each other's little sisters. So guys used to just tell me what he was doing. And I remember one day he wanted to use my car. My best friend that I was just telling y'all about the husband, she was at her mom's house this one day. It was a Saturday evening. I'm doing hair, and she was at her mom's house, but she was leaving her mom's house. And where he was going, he had to pass her mom's house. And where the way he was going, I knew he was going to see this chick that I had been hearing that he was messing with. I didn't have solid proof at the time, but people was telling me that it was this chick that he had messed with at work. And this is the thing. One thing about a man is when they do start cheating, their whole demeanor changes. All you got to do is just pay attention to their habits. They change their habits. And I remember because at the time where he worked at, he worked in a manufacturing plant, in a warehouse. So he used to just throw on anything to go to work, right? Didn't try to get clean or none of that kind of stuff. But all of a sudden, his whole habit with how he dressed, Negro started smelling good. Wanted to start wearing his Timberland boots and nice. You remember Jabot jeans back in the day? That used to be my favorite jeans. Used to start putting on his little Jabot jeans with his Timberland boots and dressed and looking nice and was smelling good because he was a dresser. He had great style. But start getting clean, going to work, and I start peeping, didn't say anything, but I'm peeping game because again, when did you start doing all this? You ain't never got clean and was smelling good like this, making sure his hair was all lined up. I'm looking good. I'm like, okay, somebody got his attention. We ain't crazy. So I started peeping it and I was paying attention, and people, small town people talk. And the thing is, you never know who people know. And I never let him know everybody that's in my circle. That's another thing we need to make sure we do, ladies. Always have that one or two couple friends that he don't know nothing about. So he don't know who to watch for if he don't know they're there, right? So make sure that you always have them friends that he don't know all of your friends. Because my one best friend, she lived like 30 minutes away from our town. And he was the one friend that we never let him know where she lived. Never. So if we wanted to duck off, it was always at her house, and they wouldn't know because they didn't know where she stayed. But anyway, he started getting clean, going to work, and I was like, okay. So I peeped that. So anyway, I started hearing about the chick. So when my best friend was leaving her mom's house, now he told me he was going to his guy house. His guy didn't stay that way. But he was going, and just so happened as she was pulling out from her mom's driveway, mind you, he in my car. She know I'm at home. She knew my car. She knew I was at home doing hair. Why did she pass him? So of course, she called me and she said, girl, I just passed that Negro in your car. And he was going down 25. And I was like, what? And it was so funny. I was like, okay. She said, and I saw him hit the brakes. So that means he turned around because he knew he was caught. And he turned around and brought his ass right on back home because he knew he was caught. And he came and he had a suspicious look on his face. But I didn't say anything. When he walked in, I said, oh, you back early? I said, I thought you was going to hang with your guy. You don't usually ever come home that fast. But that Negro came home so quick. He knew she was busted. He knew she saw him. And when he came home and he was like, did you talk to Mill? I said, no, I didn't. I said, why? He was like, oh, okay. He never told me, but I never told him either. But I knew because he had already told me. Then another time, he wanted to, it was a car wash behind our house. It was a car wash. We could actually walk to the car wash. I was getting ready to take my mama to the casino. My mama was a casino freak. She loved to go to the casino. She always won too. She loved to go to the casino, and I was always the one that she would take because she knew after a while I would make her get up and not play it all back. After she win her money, I'll go check and see if she was up or down, and then I'll tell her, okay, let's go cash out. So she would always take me to the casino with her. And she and I had a date to go to the casino that night. And so he came and asked if he could use one of my vehicles. I had 2 vehicles. And I said, no. I said, you can't use my vehicle. Mind you, as I was getting dressed, I heard him get in my car and he left, but then he came back within 5 minutes. Mind you, I told you it was a car wash behind my house, walking distance. But he was getting in my car and he was driving somewhere. I thought maybe he went around the corner to the store or something. He came back, sat outside for a minute. He did it again. He got in my car, left, was gone like 5 minutes, and he came back. And I was like, what is this fool doing? And why do he keep popping in my car and coming back? And I was like, okay, give me my key because now I'm getting ready to leave. And so he left walking. Again, the car wash behind my house, walking distance. He left walking. I didn't know where he went because at the same time, my mama calling me saying, come pick me up. I say, okay. So this was probably like he left walking probably about 15, 20 minutes before I left. So I get in the car, I leave. Something say, go to the car wash. Girl, I pulled around to that car wash. And this is me as I'm pulling up to the car wash. So the entrance, you came past like the vacuum cleaners first, and then there were the little stalls that the cars put into. I pull up by the vacuum cleaners, and I happen to something say, look in the stall. This Negro was hopping in the back seat of this heifer's car. She backed up into the little stall like she washing her car, but she wasn't washing her car. I saw this Negro pull up. She pulled up. He hopped in her back seat and she laid down. He laid down in the back seat for her to pull off. Now he had to lay down so nobody could see her because she didn't have tint on her windows. And he laying down on the back seat. And I'm sitting here like, this Negro, if you ain't the dumbest. So I'm calling his phone. I'm seeing him. So I'm calling the phone all at the same time. Child. I'm calling his phone. He ain't answering the phone. And I'm texting him. I was like, I need you to pick that phone up. He was not answering the phone. Girl, I was cackling. So I still left. I had to go to the casino. All this is going on. I had to go get my mama. And I'm calling the whole time. Now, mind you, when I pick her up, I give her the phone because I'm driving. I said, keep calling this number. She said, girl, who phone number? I'm pulling her in it. I said, keep calling to see if you get an answer. He never would answer. Then the phone started going to voicemail. I said, oh, no, this Negro didn't send me to voicemail after I just seen him jump in the back seat of somebody else's car. Girl, I couldn't get to that casino fast enough because usually when we get to the casino, my mama go her separate way. And I used to work at the casino, so I would just go hang out at the bar with some of the co-workers that I knew that worked there. And I'll let my mama go play her game. Girl, I got that phone. I call him. I say, let me run this down for you. I say, I know you see to me calling you, and I see that you didn't answer on purpose, and now you done cut your phone off, but you gonna get this voicemail. I say, your little garbage bag is gonna be at your grandmama's house when you get done doing whatever you doing. I say, don't stress. You ain't got to be in no hurry coming back because the lock's gonna be changed on the door. Stay where you at. I said, now you got to be one of the dumbest, if not the only dumbest Negro that I've ever seen. I say, why should I have to school you on how to cheat? You don't even know how to cheat. I say, but I actually seen you hop in the back seat of this chick's car and lay down. I say, I'm literally watching you. I say, when you saw your phone ringing, I was literally sitting here watching you. So there was no way you could explain yourself out of this. It literally was no way. Girl, when I say, so that night, I didn't go back home because I knew he was going to come back. I went to my mama's house. I went home. and I parked my car behind the house so he wouldn't know I was at my mama. Girl, I told y'all I was petty. This is like so funny that I'm just really thinking back on this. But I had parked behind my mama house. So he came to, yes, since I had my mama was the accomplice. Girl, a whole mess. I parked behind the house. So he came to her door. It was probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. We hadn't been too long, got home from the casino, but he didn't know that. I was parked in the back. And I said, don't open the door. My daddy wasn't there. I think my dad was on reserve that weekend. So he wasn't at home. But girl, he came knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell. We ain't let him in. I'm literally looking out the window at his ass while he out there just dinging the doorbell, dinging the door. I'm like, you won't get in here. He couldn't get in my house because I had changed a lot. And you know, if you are from the South, a lot of houses didn't have carport. They had carports. They did not have a garage. A lot of them didn't. So I had a carport on my house back then. And so he knew I wasn't home because my car wasn't parked there. But it was behind my mama house. So I was looking at him the whole time. But I ended up taking his stuff over to his grandma's house. He was calling my phone while he was outside ringing the doorbell. I mean, he was calling me back to back to back, and I had my phone on silent so he wouldn't know that I was actually sitting there looking at him out the window. And girl, when I say he called my phone so much, and I didn't answer it until later the next day when I had gotten home. He couldn't get in my house because I had changed the locks and I had taken his stuff over to his grandma's house. His grandma didn't live too far from where we stayed. So I took it over there. He called his brother. He had his brother calling me. He had his sisters calling me. Right, yes, stay where you at, girl. Girl, he had everybody calling me. And I answered the phone for his sister, and she was like, girl, could you talk to that boy so he can start? I said, girl, I'm done with your brother. And I said, did he tell you what he did? I said, we have no conversation. I said, literally, we have no conversation. He called his brother. Then his brother called me. And he was like, can y'all just talk? I don't even know why. You know why? A lot of people, and this is what I learned. A lot of people would advocate you staying in toxic relationships because they don't want to deal with the Negro. They didn't want him to be at their house. They didn't want him to be back at their grandmama house. So we want him to be over there with you because then nobody want to fool with him. So that's why a lot of times be careful when you see the family advocating for y'all to try to work it out, and they so big on y'all just get back together and you know y'all can work it out. Y'all been together for so long. Don't fall for the okie doke. They doing it because they don't want the responsibility of having to deal with it because he ain't got nowhere to go. Mind you, he ain't had nothing. I had my own house. He ain't had nowhere to go. He was just from pillar to post, as my grandma used to say. But the brother ended up calling. He was like, well, can you just talk to him? I said, well, only if you come with him. So he came, I let him come over and he talking and he was like, bae. He said, bae, I'm sorry. And all this, that, and the third. And I was sitting there like, I'm sitting there because I know it was a waste of time. I was literally done. And before, like after that, he even had the little chick calling my house one time, asking to speak to him. And I say, well, you're going to have to call this cell phone because this is my house phone, but call this cell phone. But I never let her see me sweat. I wasn't sweating. You know, for one, I told him the fact that you were so disrespectful to give another chick my house phone number, that right there let me know that it was a wrap because, you know, we don't do that. I ain't do that kind of drama. So don't be giving another chick my house phone number. Give her your cell phone number. So, you know, she thought she was doing something, but I already knew what she was getting. So I was like, I already told him to stay down there with you. What you calling me for? You know, I wasn't tripping. I was not about to go back and forth with another chick about somebody that was supposed to be mine. I ain't never doing that. I ain't never. The only time I do that is if she comes for me and disrespects me. I have no beef with somebody when he go cheat. My beef is with him because that's the one that I'm in the relationship with. So anyways, we were sitting there talking. When I say this boy was boohoo crying, I'm talking tears for days. He was like, I just want us to be together. I just want us to work it out. And as he's saying that, I say, you couldn't possibly want us to be together when I just seen you jump in the back seat of this. If you went through all of that, like you went through a lot. I said, that was a whole show you just put on. You went through a lot to get in the back seat of this lady car. And now you over here crying. I dialed that chick's number and put it on speaker so she could hear that fool sitting there crying. He didn't know. I dialed it, set it down, but she on the phone. He was like, I don't want to be with her. It's me and you against the world, and we've been together for And I told his brother, I said, could you get your brother? I said, take him home. I let him speak his piece, and it's a wrap. My answer is still no. So I let him, we ended up breaking up. I met this new dude. It was, I don't even know how much longer. I probably already had him in the Rolodex, child, because let me tell you, back then, listen, I had a Rolodex, right? I had a lot of guy friends, but this one I had met at a job years before this, but we ended up clicking and hanging out. He was from Louisiana. And you know how them Louisiana men talk fine too. He was a fine young tender, as they would call it. But anyway, he had came into town. And see, this is the thing. He was the one telling me, ain't nobody gonna want you. Now then, when I wouldn't take him back, now he calling my phone every other day. I blocked him from every number. That was back then when you had pay phones too, back in the day. I'm probably aging myself, but we had pay phones back in the day. And he would go to pay phones. I had blocked his grandmama number. I blocked his siblings, his brothers, all of them. He couldn't call me from any of their numbers. So he started calling me from just different pay phones. So, and I had to block. I had to just keep blocking because I never knew what pay phone he was calling about. So anyway, my little friend was coming from Louisiana. It was him, his sister, and his sister's boyfriend. They was coming and we was getting ready to go out that night. I'm just getting dressed. Mind you, still standing in the same house. I didn't move. This is my house. And I'm in the bathroom. I had the blinds open. The window was open. And, you know, they were back in the bedrooms getting dressed. And I was in the front bathroom, like putting my makeup on or something. And I just happened to look out of the side of my eye. Girl, why that Negro was in my window? I scared the bat shit. Girl, listen. He scared me so bad. This Negro was in the bathroom window. And I'm sitting here like, what? I'm like, and I didn't want them to hear me because, mind you, like this is company. My friend knew of him, knew we had broke up, but didn't know him, and he didn't know them. And this is the thing. One thing about a man, like I was saying, he was telling me ain't nobody gonna want you anyway, and you think you this and you ain't this, and I got chicks that's better than you. I said, okay, girl. Yes, he was peeping in the room window. He was in the bathroom window, sis. And so I said, okay, fine. I'm not going to prove to you whether or not somebody going to want me. I ain't never had that issue. It ain't never been a problem. And when I say never, I mean never. And so he was telling me about all the bad chicks he got and this. And I was like, okay, go be great. Go be great. That's okay. I wish you well. So he came to the window. And so I'm sitting over there like, nigga, if you don't get your ass away from my window, this me in the bathroom talking between my teeth. Because I didn't want them to hear me because I'm like, this fool gonna run my company away. So he ended up finally left, and I put on me a little nice little sexy top with the back out. It was summertime. Had my little, what you call those little capri pants back in the day. You know, I've always had a nice shape back. You know, I've always had that. Girl, put my little back out shirt on. And we left and went on our little date. We hanging out. We didn't get into early the next morning. But the next morning, we sleep. Girl, doorbell. Ding, 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 ding. We all jump up. Mind you, we all in the house sleep. We hear the doorbell just going off. I'm like, who is this at this door? And girl, I go look out the peephole. that Negro again. He bold this time because, mind you, my little friend car parked in my driveway with his Louisiana license plates and stuff. And the thing that was killing him the worst is that he didn't know this guy, because people, for whatever reason, dudes like to know who you're dating so they can throw in your face like, oh, that nigga got this many women and he got that many women. I already know him. He ate this and he ate that. They like to be able to compare themselves to the new guy, right? But he didn't know this guy. He didn't live in town. He lived in Louisiana. So he had no idea who he was. And when I say he had one of those bad cars, I forgot the name of the car, but that car was a nice 24-inch rims. It was a baby blue car, candy paint on it. Like, it was a nice car, right? So that was killing him more than anything. So he was so anxious to know, like, who is this dude? And she got him all up in the house. And I used to live over there with her. And now she got this other dude over there. Girl, he was ringing that doorbell. So my friend come from the back, like, who is that ringing this doorbell? You know, he a man's man. So he come to the door, like, who ringing this doorbell like that? Yes, baby. That accent, right? So he come to the door. And he was like, who is this ringing the doorbell? I said, it's that fool again. He at the door. He said, let me answer. So he answers the door. Now, this is how bold they be. When I say this boy reminds me so much of a Martell, thinking about it while I'm talking through this stuff. So my friend opens the door and he was like, how can I help you? And so he asked him for me. I want to talk to Pink Diva. And he said, well, she don't want to talk to you. He said, she ain't got nothing to say to you. He was like, so, you know, you can stop ringing the doorbell. He said, you called a couple times. She said she done. She didn't want to talk to you. And he was like, this ain't got nothing to do with you. So he mad, trying to get all in his chest because, you know, he trying to stall because he trying to see if he know the dude. He pinged and he was looking good too when he came to the door. Yes, Lady Sweetness, he was hot as fish grease, girl. Girl, he was hot. Yes, it's that Nolans voice, baby. So he was like, you know, respectfully, and you know, he didn't want beef. He wasn't trying to beef or anything, but he basically like, get away from this door. In other words, trying to be respectful. He in his feelings, like, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to her. So I had to step around. I was like, we ain't got nothing else to say. I said, we had a conversation. I'm done. Like, literally, I'm done. It's a wrap. We ain't got nothing to talk about. Remember all them days that you was kicking it with, oh girl, now you over here on my doorstep, knocking at my door because you mad that I got somebody else over here. See, their egos get hurt. When they see that you can do to them the same thing they was doing, they got a problem with it. Because when they see you stop moving on, when they see you stop chasing them and then you move on, they get a problem with it. So he left. He was hot as fish grease when he left that day. So later that night, we ended up going to a little party at one of the little clubs that was in town, locally in town. So this was the first time me taking my little Nolans boo to the little club. So it was me, my best friend, her husband, my new guy, and his sister and her boyfriend. Here's the kicker. My best friend's husband and my ex used to be really good friends. They were really good friends. So imagine how pissed off he was when he saw his ex good friend hanging with me and my new boo. So we at the club and I had on a nice, now my new boo had bought me this cute little sexy little dress that I wore, girl, little nice little dress. That was my little gift he brought with me. So I wore it to the little club that night. Girl, we went to the club. We was dancing. Mind you, he shows up. The dude. Mind you, we was in a small town. You know, this same little club we only had a couple clubs in town. So typically you gonna run into the same people. So he came. Fast forward about a couple months. So he dating this new chick. He done moved in with her now. So I'm thinking he over me. He got a whole new chick now. He living with a whole new chick. So we go to this little club and we at the club. He's there. Yes, my degree. Stalker much. So we in there, we dancing and we standing over to the side. So me and my new boo, we was slow dancing on the dance floor. We slow dancing. My best friend and her guy was standing right beside us. And he's here with his new boo. He walked by us like 50 times. He was trying his best to make sure we saw him, which we had already seen him before he synced us. And my girlfriend's husband, he was like, I know it's gonna be a problem because he mad that I'm over here with you. But again, they hadn't even been talking like that because they fell off for whatever reason. He found out he was shysty, but they didn't talk to each other anymore. So he mad and he runs over to my friend's husband, like, oh, it's like that. So you over here hanging with other niggas now. And basically mad because he was over there with us and he was like, look, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's my wife's friend, and we riding with her. We on what time she on, pretty much. And he didn't like it. He could not stand it. His woman is in here, but he spent more time over walking close to where we were the entire night, acting like she wasn't even there. The next day, when I say that boy called me back to back to back, and I was sending him the voicemail every time he would call. Again, he's living now with a new chick, but he was calling my phone back to back to back. Oh, you out here dressing like a little thot. Oh, he told me I was dressed like a little horror with the little dress I had. Oh, you out here looking like a little horror. You didn't do all that when you was with me. And, oh, that's what kind of time that Negro got you on. And I was like, say you mad without saying you mad. Girl, when I say that was the funniest, and still to this day, y'all, this boy tried to find me on Facebook because you know how Facebook would send you that somebody trying to send you a friend request because I have my page private. And he was popping up and he just kept changing his pages and would try to find me, and I had to just block all of them still to this day. And that's been, girl, over decades and decades ago. That was like when we were younger. You know how you end up being that one that got away? I was that one that got away. But I just said that to say they can't take what they dish out. It's been proven years after years after years. They cannot take what they dish out. Literally will freak out and have a heart attack and totally forget about everything that they've done. If they get an inkling of you even acting like you want to talk to another man, they will forget about all the years that they have drugged your name, all the years that they've been out here cheating back to back to back. But all of a sudden now, hey, let's forget about what I've done. Let's focus on what you're doing. Then it's a problem. And the thing about it is, when this happened, I wasn't in the relationship with him anymore. I had broken off the relationship and seemingly gave him to where he said he wanted to be. You know, when I saw him get in the car with the chick, I'm like, okay, you can have her, because if you ain't got to go through the lengths of trying to jump in a back seat and lay down on the seat so I didn't see you. So I feel like I'm saving you some time. I'm saving you time, so you ain't got to be out here sneaking and dipping and dodging. You can just be free, right? Is that not what they want? When you let them go, that's not what they want. Hey, Neva, thanks for joining. How are you? Yes, my degree, the nerve of that fool. Didn't know he had a good thing until it was gone. Girl, like my grandma used to say, they don't miss the water until the well run dry. And when that well run dry, they feel it because they get real thirsty. They get real thirsty. Teresa, yes, he was hotter than a firecracker, sis. Hey, let's be clear. Thanks for joining. Shout out to the replay gang. Thanks for joining. Yes, honey. He was mad. Sherry, yes, sis. Sherry said, woo, child. Girl, let me tell you, I got some stories in the vault. You hear me? I have some stories in the vault. Teresa said that means you was looking cute. Girl was cute. Had that little dress on. He about had a heart attack. You hear me? Yes, I am blessed, pecan Pam. The jealousy is real. Yes, just like that video sis showed yesterday about Martell. Listen, that's exactly how they be. They be about to crash out for real. Right, Neva. They don't miss you until it's gone. They don't miss you until it is gone. You hear me? They don't miss it. And that's why I say, like, when we cheat back, it just does something to the, it just rips their whole world apart because they cannot take it. Yazzie said, "You're a good storyteller, sis. I can picture everything you said." Girl, I got some more. You hear me? I tell people all the time, I really could write a mini series. And that's why I say all the time, I thank God I don't look like what I've been through. And girl, you would just be surprised at the stuff that we have to deal with because see, it's just something about, and this goes back to just us as women, all jokes aside, just us as women, just knowing the power that we hold and just knowing, that we are the prize because you'll have Negroes out here crashing out just like that because they know that you are the prize. They know they can't do better. They know, look at Martell. They know they can't do better than what they had at home, but for whatever reason, they go out here and they cheat because they cheat with the intent to come back. They cheat with the mindset that you're not going anywhere because you are, that good girl that they ain't really out for the streets like that. So 9 times out of 10, you're less likely to come in contact with somebody who could tell you what they're doing out in the street. So that's why they like to keep you at home and they like that whole good girl mentality. Just like Marceau, I would say Marceau and Tisha, how he wants to keep her stuck at home because so therefore it makes it easy for them to be out in the street and do whatever because you're less likely for people to run up to you and tell you anything about what your significant other is out in the street doing. So that's why they like that whole good girl mentality. But see, you can still be a good girl and you still can have street sense at the time. And that's the one thing that I'm so appreciative of when it comes to my brother. My brother put me on game a long time ago. My brother taught me that showed me that a chick can be sitting right there on his lap and the woman could be calling his phone. That chick would sit there and be quiet while he say sweet nothings to that chick on the phone and nothing. And that to this day, that resonated with me my entire life growing up and being able to deal with men. My brother showed me a lot of stuff of what men were actually capable of and that they could tell you anything just because you telling me you love me, just because you calling my name while we on the phone, you can have that chick sit right there on your lap. I saw it happen. My brother had a girlfriend, his long-term girlfriend. They dated all the way through middle school, and he was a senior at the time. He had these other chicks. Chicks used to be coming back and forth at our house all the time, but he had his main chick. And I remember we were sitting in the living room on the couch, and this chick was over there. She was sitting on my brother's lap. So his main chick was calling the phone. You remember we had phones then with the big caller ID on it so you could see the number that popped up. So he was calling our house phone. And I say, it's Tasha. And I'm looking at the other chick mean mugging her because I ain't like her because I liked his girlfriend. And it was just pissing me off that the fact that he had another chick over there. But he answered the phone. He did not try to hide. He answered the phone and he was like, nothing. I'm just sitting here in the living room chilling, which we were. But he didn't tell her that the other chick was there. And she was telling him about her day. And he was like, okay, baby, I'll call you back in a little while. And when he answered the phone, before he answered, he told the chick on his lap, he said, don't say anything. Be quiet. Don't say nothing. I got to answer this call. And you know what? She set her ass right there and did not say nothing. And from that day on, I never looked at men the same way because you could tell me anything. I do not fall for the okie doke because I know what they're capable of. And I tell my brother to this day, I am so appreciative for all of the things that you showed me in regards to how men move with women. Because of you, I'm able to see things in a different light. So you can't just tell me anything. And it's so hard for you to run game on me. And I'm so appreciative of that because, you know, a lot of times we'll be like, oh, you know, he answered the phone when I called. Whole time he got a whole chick over there. And she had no idea the whole time. Teresa said, I got some stories about my ex too. Child, I can laugh at them now. Listen. Thank you, Juan. Juan said, I love your stories. I am blessed because Pam said you can definitely write a book, girl, a series. You hear me? Sis said men make the mistake of thinking you won't cheat back or leave them. Absolutely. Absolutely would blow their whole wig back. You hear me? Teresa said, remember the movie when the man offered this husband and his wife $1,000,000 for a good night, and then the husband couldn't handle it. It was having a fit. Yes. What was that called? I remember that. He couldn't take it, but he wanted that $1,000,000. Yes, my degree. Street smarts, sis. Street smarts. Teresa said, my brother and best male friend schooled me too. Absolutely. Yes, sis. Brothers, cousins, etc. should always put their family on game. Definitely. My brother definitely put me on game, sis said, and that's why they cheat, because it's always a no moral woman willing to keep their mouth closed. Absolutely. And she said absolutely nothing, and I never looked at that girl the same. Never looked at her the same. Neva said that reminds me of my brother's games. You're telling the truth. Absolutely. And the one thing that I can say that I do appreciate with my brother, and my brother been a pimp all his life, girl. He just ain't gonna change. And he can just pick whatever woman he want whenever he wants. He just always been smooth like that. But what I will say is the one thing he never did, he never told them that they was the one. He always let the women know about the other woman. Like, that's my friend. She coming over here. And the thing is, the women would get mad at each other. They wouldn't get mad at him. And the thing is, you got to respect the game. If he's telling you we're not in a relationship and I got female friends that come over and all of that kind of stuff, and if you are okay with that, you just going to have to deal with it. Because if you continue to, kick it with him, knowing that he be kicking it with these other females, you can't get mad at the females. I mean, you chose to keep rocking with him after he told you. If your feelings in it like that, and you're emotionally attached, and you thinking he gonna cut those females off for you, he basically told you, I got other friends, and you chose to keep kicking it with him. So you can't get mad. So women, we too have to be careful of what we allow these men to do, because they can only do what we allow. They can only be out here running game on us if we allow them to run game on us. Moral of the story is, if you cheat, be prepared to get cheated back on. It happens to the best of us, and if you can't take it, don't dish it. Keep it to yourself. If you can't take it, don't dish it. And it is what it is. And it'll be a better world for us all to live in, right? But again, we're built different. We're not made the same. Men aren't made, I say a lot of times I feel like women are made for it tough, because we take so much. We have to endure so much. And I think men just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because they know we're tough. They know we're strong. They feel like a lot of us are so forgiving that we'll just let, him do whatever he want to do. We'll keep forgiving him and keep saying, okay, well, maybe it'll be different this time, and just keep going, on this roller coaster. But we don't. But at the end of the day, just know that you are the prize. Know that, you hold the power. You can control the situation yourself. Like, he don't get to call the shots. And, and if you think that with him cheating, and if you think that if he come and apologize, you feel like that you can work it out and tend to want to keep the relationship, and you feel you can deal with that and get past infidelity and work it out, kudos to you. But if not, get out of the relationship, because if you don't feel like that you'll be able to get past it, and every time there's an argument, or every time he leave the house and you're thinking that he's going somewhere and he's cheating, then you haven't gotten over it. So don't subject yourself to a situation that you feel like you can't deal with just to keep him. If you don't think you can do it, don't say you can do it. get out of the relationship, sever the ties, and let him go be great with whomever he chooses. CC said they'll keep doing whatever you allow. Absolutely, they'll keep doing it. Juan says, like they always say, don't hate the game, hate the player. That part. Don't hate the game, baby. Hate the player. Tia said, I'm a little behind, but is the movie Indecent Proposal? The one Teresa is talking about, sis, I think that is Indecent Proposal. I think that is Indecent Proposal. The one where the guy asked to trade the wife basically for $1 million. Girl, and he couldn't breathe. Sis said, what you put up with is what you end with. You better know it. What you put up with is definitely what you'll end with. And if they see that you're going to take it, they're going to keep doing it. There's no incentive for them to stop doing what they're doing if you continue to, allow them to do it. And then they can come back and say, I'm sorry, and then a couple weeks later, you going through the same things or however long down the line. But I mean, if you're not built to think that you can be okay, I'm just not one that can share. I don't do sharing. And then I don't want to ever be in a position to where another woman thinks she can throw anything in my face. You won't be able to walk into my face and say, oh, I had him last week, yesterday, or whatever. You can't do that to me because you can have that Negro. I'm not about to sit here and go back and forth with another woman about something that's supposed to be mine. And I'm definitely not going to sit back and be willingly sharing my significant other with everybody else in the street. I'm not going to do that. Now, if we are married, if we're married and there's small children involved, if we're just tied in different ways, because marriage is a totally different thing than you actually just dating. And at that time, we were just in a relationship. We were not married. Marriage is different because there are a lot of things that come into play when marriage is involved. By all means, if you are married, then there is different ties to that man. So you have to either decide to work through it, work it out, or sever the ties. Either way it goes, regardless of if it's husband or just the boyfriend or whatever, always choose you at the end of the day. Always know that you hold the power. Always know that he gonna be who he is. And if you want to give him a chance and you feel like, okay, we can overlook that, I forgave you for that, we're gonna move on and we're gonna continue building our relationship. We're gonna go to counseling, we're gonna try to work it out. And then he does it again, and then it's up to you to decide, do I stay and keep dealing with it? Because basically, when you forgive them, for some men, it just feel like you're giving them a pass. Like, okay, I did it this time. And sometimes men will try you just to test the water. They'll try you just to see how much you'll put up with. How far will you allow me to go before you walk away? See, that's how men are very calculated. They're very manipulative, and they are very calculated because they know we are emotional creatures and we love real hard. When we love, and we ride for who we ride for. And men know that, and they'll play on that. So we just got to be careful. Although we are, those emotional creatures, always remember you first. Always, take yourself into consideration, because love doesn't hurt. Love does not hurt. Love should not have you feeling, because my thing is, I believe in you reciprocating the same thing I'm giving you. It's give and take for me. I'm not going to be the only one giving, and taking. It has to be an equal contribution within the relationship. You have to meet me where I am and vice versa. It can't just be a one-sided thing. And you can't think you can do to me what you can't. I'm not the type of person that will do you any kind of way that I wouldn't want you to do me. That's always my mindset. My mindset is always, I wouldn't want him to do this to me, so I'm not going to do it. And that's the way I look at it. And I'm not going to accept him doing things to me that I wouldn't do to him. So you just got to, know where you stand in your relationship. Know what you are built to take and what you're not built to take. And it's okay. Send him back to his mama. Get him out your house. Always have your own stuff. Like we say, always have your own. Have your own place. Always have your own money. Don't let him have control over you financially, because that's another tactic that they use to continue manipulating you when they know they hold the finances. You can only go where they allow. You can only buy what they allow. And I'm not giving no Negro that much control over me to be able to tell me, didn't I just give you some money last week? I ain't asking you for nothing. If I want it, I'm going to go buy it with my own money. So just always, and I have a problem with rejection. So I'm not going to be in a situation with a man where I got to ask him for something and he tells me no. I have a problem with that. So that's why I get up and I go to work and I hustle for myself to build so that I'll have without having to depend on a man, because you can't depend on a man. And you don't want to have yourself in that situation. Teresa said, I can't take a cheater back. He would never be able to come home late. I don't care what the reason is. He better be in the house on time. Not worth my sanity. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do believe, and don't get me wrong, I do believe that there are some men who have dealt with infidelity and have cheated, that they did get it right, when given the opportunity to change and work out their relationship. There are some men who did do right the next time around. It's unfortunate that you had to go through all of that to get to that point. But there are some men who can get past the whole, can stop the infidelity if you decide to give them another chance. Because sometimes it take you actually, who said it? Kendrick Lamar. Sometimes you got to pop out and show them. And when you pop out and show them, they get that get back. They get that get right. You got to pop out and show them that, I'm not the one. Teresa said, sis said, yes, that's the thing, Teresa. Once the trust is gone, it's gone. Absolutely. And you got to just got to come to the realization and be honest with yourself, and just, if you can't take it, don't take it. Don't say you can for the sake of the relationship, and then, you still bringing it up months down the line, because that means you haven't properly or haven't fully forgiven, and you haven't moved past it. You still holding on to it. So you need to really do some self-evaluation and really tell yourself, ask yourself if you're able to continue dealing with this or not. And if not, just sever ties and move on. You can do bad by yourself, because none of us deserve to be cheated on. All of us deserves to be respected. We deserve to be loved and treated right, because that's the same thing that they would want us to do for them. So you can't. Sis said, has anyone stayed with a cheater and they stopped? That's a good question. Chat, has anyone in the chat stayed with the cheater and they actually stopped cheating? I haven't, sis, because I'm out the first time. I'm out the first time. I apply pressure the first time. No, ma'am. Chuck the deuces up, because I know I personally would never look at them the same. I could never look at them the same. And if I'm staying, it's because I'm working on my exit plan, not because I'm staying and trying to work it out. Tia says she knows someone. Okay. There are some that have. Teresa said, how would they know if he actually stopped? Well, you can change behavior. A lot of times the one thing about men, when they are doing something that they shouldn't be doing, their behavior changes. The way they do things changes. They're not, I tell people all the time. I remember one time, I'll say this story for a different day. But the one thing about women is nothing changes with us. If it is somebody else, nothing changes. If he knows she get off at 3:00 and she's home by 3:30 every day, that's her routine. I don't care if it is another man in the picture. Guess what? I'm still gonna make it home by 3:30 every day. The nothing changes. Nothing changes. If I go get my nails done at this particular spot all the time, this is the same spot I'm getting. And the thing is, there are ways that you can do what you do and still stay on task. Men are just sloppy. They don't know how to do stuff. It's almost like they forget how to stay in line with stuff. Like they'll be out here pillow talking with these women they sleeping with in the street and will tell the wife's whole profile. She don't, and the wife don't even know this other woman exists. But this lady know what time you go to work. She know where you work at. She know what time you pick up the kids from school. She know what time you make it home. And that heifer got the nerves. Some of them will be sitting right in your same nail shop, sitting right beside you, knowing all along they the sneaky link to your husband because he done told her that's where you get your nails done. That's how dumb and slow some of these men are. For the life of me, I have never understood why they so loose-lipped when it comes to these side chicks that they be kicking it with. You will go pillow talk and tell your wife's whole profile. And then the wife on the other hand, or the woman on the other hand, the Negro don't know nothing about you. He don't know where you work at. He don't know what you look like. He knows absolutely nothing because they don't share that information. So that's already a violation because they talk too darn much. So they're better off not cheating because they don't do it well. They really don't do it well because they slip up and you can always, and one thing, and I told my friend this one time, one thing about a woman, I don't understand why we all don't have PhDs in being an FBI agent because baby, we can find some stuff out. Do you hear me? It is something about us and our investigative mindset kick in. We can find some stuff out when we want to find some stuff out. They cannot get anything over on us for too long because they will drop the ball somewhere and we always end up finding out. So the best bet is to be, if you want to cheat or if you don't want to be in a monogamous relationship, don't get in a relationship. And I feel like it's so unfair that, you see this person who is really into you and want to be in a relationship and you feel like we're building something and we're working our way to a nice relationship or what have you. If you don't mean that person any good or you don't mean to be the person that person is looking for, leave that lady alone. Let that lady live her life. Don't go interrupting that lady's life when you know you don't mean her no good. All of that unwanted baggage that you're bringing, she didn't ask for all of that. Stay out there, stay single, and you can date multiple women as you choose. I don't understand why they even bother, getting in relationships when they know that's not what they really want. If they know they for the street, stay out in the street because then you don't have to lie about where you're going. You don't have to turn your phone on silent. You don't have to worry about the other chick popping up. You can just do you. So I don't understand, so just stay single. But then you come disrupt this lady's life, bringing all this mess. Now you got side chicks calling her. You got side chicks popping up and you MIA and you doing all of this stuff when you could have just left that lady alone and let her continue to move on. So if you don't mean the lady any good intent, leave the lady alone. Leave her alone. Sis Teresa said, yes, you're right about that. We should be investigators. Absolutely, because we want to know some stuff. We can find out. Oh, we can find out for sure. We can find out for sure. But know you are the prize, ladies. Know that you are the prize. Know your power. Love yourself enough to not just put up with any old thing. Always remember that a man will only do what you allow. Don't put yourself through any unnecessary drama. We already have enough stressors that we have to deal with as it is. And we all know stress unalives. We should not invite willingly invite any unnecessary stressors. And that means these men. When you see he don't mean you no good, choose you, choose yourself, walk away, do you, live life. Life is too short to be dealing with toxicity. Life is too short to be just even surrounding yourself with people who don't love you the way that you deserve to be loved. It's not worth it. It is somebody for you, regardless of what he say. You can find another man. They come a dime a dozen. You hear me? You can find another man. And sometimes we just got to take our emotions out of it, do what we got to do for us. And not saying that you never love the person. But you just choose you at the end of the day, because obviously they didn't love you the way that they should have loved you, or the way you deserve to be loved. So do you, ladies, do you. Did you all enjoy the topic? This was fun. This was a fun little conversation. I had actually talked to my brother about that and told him we was going to be talking about cheating. I told him I was going to share his story. But I enjoyed the conversation. I really did. I really did. Yes, as she said, the lack of trust would drive me cray, or him, really. Neva said, I know someone stayed and he didn't stop cheating. They are very few and far between, for sure. Right, sis? If it's in them, it's in them. Teresa said, you're right about that. We should be investigators. I think I read that one. Brittany said, yes, ma'am. Teresa said, you all should have seen my husband's ex-wife when we buried our son. She was a mess, throwing shade left and right, and we've been married 30 years. Girl, she's still mad? 30 years? Girl. Yes, he said, this was fun. Thanks, sis. Sis said, great topic. I am blessed. Pecan Pam said, yes, great topic as always. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. I am so glad y'all enjoyed it. It was a great topic. Just want make sure you share the video with your friends, your girlfriends. It's all about building community over here so that we can help each other. When we know better, we do better. And just love on ourselves. Love on ourselves. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are 1 hour and 56 minutes. This was a great live. I really enjoyed chatting with you all. Thank you all for pulling up to the table. I really appreciate you all. Shout out to the replay gang that'll be pulling up to the table later. I appreciate you for joining. Make sure you please hit the like button on your way in. And drop down and leave a comment. We had some fun. And don't forget this Friday, y'all, March 14th at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time will be another session of the Spilling the Business Tea. This coming Friday, March 14th, 10 o'clock a.m. We'll be talking about spilling the business tea. And after that, girl, let me share my screen. Hold on 1 second. Let me share the screen, y'all. Let me share my screen. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull up this stuff, girl. Next, this Friday, March 14th, as well. Y'all see that? Let me see if I can make it big. Next, this Friday, March 14th, y'all. March 14th. This coming Friday. Get ready for the No Cap Show, y'all. This coming Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, with none other than my sister from another mister, Chit Chat with QT, our favorite auntie on these YouTube streets that give it to us real and raw every time, Aunt Debbie, and me, myself, and I, Pink Table Topics. aka Pink Diva, right here on YouTube, y'all. This coming Friday and every Friday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Y'all, we coming with the No Cap Show, y'all. We are so excited. We have so much stuff and so much fun stuff planned for you all. It's going to be amazing. This coming Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be over on Chit Chat's channel. Make sure you are subscribed, which I'm sure most of you are, but make sure you are subscribed to all of our platforms because we will be sharing it across platforms. This coming Friday, it will be on Chit Chat's channel. The Friday after that, it will be on Aunt Debbie's channel. And then the Friday after that, it will be right here, Pink Table Topics. We are going in the order of the cap in No Cap. C for Chit Chat, A for Aunt Debbie, and P for Pink Table Topics. Every Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, the No Cap Show is coming, y'all. So y'all get ready for a great time. It is going to be amazing. I am so excited. Sis is excited. Aunt Debbie is excited. And we are going to have so much fun. So make sure you are subscribed to all of our platforms. Share the news, spread the news, get yourself a drink, get you something to eat, bring your girlfriends, invite your girlfriends, your friends, so they can listen in. Turn your notifications on to all of our platforms so that you won't miss when we make any announcements. But get ready, y'all. It's going to be so much fun. And y'all know how we get down. You are no stranger to how we get down. You have been a part of all of our platforms. And we, all three of us, have already shared the stage on several occasions. So y'all already know how we get down. So make sure y'all come and join the No Cap Show, y'all. The No Cap Show. It is going to let's be clear. Say, Teresa, you bartending? Yes, you're going to be bartending, sis. Thank you to everybody. Yes, it is going to be amazing. Have a good night. I am Blessed Pecan Pam. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you. But turn your notifications on, y'all. We are going to have an amazing time. Make sure you all are subscribed, like I say, to all of our channels. Share the word. If you know of anybody else that you feel would like to come over and have a good time with us, share the word. Have them subscribe to all of our platforms. And y'all come over and enjoy. We're going to have a good time this coming Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's on Chit Chat's channel. This coming Friday, it'll be at Chit Chat's channel. And you will see us throughout the week sharing some of the little flyers and announcements and stuff. We'll be keeping you reminded about the show. But turn your notifications on and come and have a good time. Y'all already know how we get down. It's always love. It's always fun. It's a good time. Y'all know when we come together, we laugh together, we cry together, we talk ish together, we pray for each other, we lift each other. That's how we do. That's what we do. So y'all just make sure y'all come and join us. We are looking forward to having an amazing time. Yes, it said bring y'all's drinks. Yes, bring your drinks, honey. Bring your drinks. Teresa gonna be over there bartending. So y'all bring y'all drinks. We're gonna have an amazing time. Y'all already know how we do. It's going to be fun. We just wanted to do something, bring a little bit something different to the YouTube streets, and we wanted to just have everybody have a safe space for us to just come and just have a good time. That's what it's all about. Just have a good time. Sis Teresa said, is Aunt Debbie okay? Missed her yesterday and today. I think I remember sis mentioning, was it today, sis, that you said something was going on with Aunt Debbie's internet or something? If I'm not mistaken, Teresa. Good night, Neva. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you, but I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for coming. But make sure y'all tune in this coming Friday morning, right here, 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time for the Spilling the Business Tea. So if you have a business, have an idea and thinking about starting a business, Come over on Friday mornings or turn it on so you can listen in the bushes. We talk about all things business on this segment, all things business. So join me on Fridays, 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. And after that, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be over at Sis's channel for the No Cap Show. So make sure you join us. Thank you all for coming over tonight and hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. I had fun, great conversation, great topics. Remember, we listen and we don't judge, right? So thank you, you all. Again, shout out to the replay gang that'll be pulling up to the table. Hit the like button for me, y'all. Share the video. Make sure you are subscribed. Send others to subscribe. I'm trying to get to my 1,000 followers. We are almost there, y'all. I appreciate you all because I could not do it without you. And I appreciate you all rocking with me. And again, until this coming Friday, y'all have a good night. I love you all and enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night, good night, good night. Good night, good night. Good night, Teresa. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you. Good night, Yazzie. Keisha, my degree is real. Let's be clear. Lady Sweetness to you. Alf, thanks for joining. I appreciate you, ladies, for pulling up. I am blessed. Become Pam. Thanks for coming, Yazzie. Juan was in the house. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you for being here. Cece, thanks, sis, for coming. Tia, thank you so much for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Deborah was here. Have a good night. Thanks for joining. I appreciate each and every one of you. LaDawn was in the house. Thanks for joining. Linda Gamble was here. Thanks so much for joining. Bridget was here. I appreciate you, sis, for putting up. Thanks for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Let me scroll. I don't like to miss anybody. My sis, Chit Chat with QT. Thanks, sis. You know, I appreciate you for modding for me. Teresa, I love you, sis. Thanks for modding for me as well. How I see it. Thank you for joining, sis. I appreciate you. Have a good night, Overcomer. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you all for rocking out with me tonight. It was so much fun. Cheryl Canada, thanks, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. I'm scrolling. Miss Lady was here. Thank you, Diva. I appreciate you. I don't want to miss Angela Richardson. Thanks, sis. I appreciate you for coming. I think I said Keisha. I'm sorry if I didn't. Good night, sis. Good night, Gia. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think I have everybody. I'm scrolling. Oh, baby girl. Have a good night, sis. Thanks for joining. Royal was here. Have a good night, sis. I appreciate you. I'm scrolling. Juan was here. I think I called you. If not, good night, CC. Thanks for joining. I am scrolling. And I think we have everybody. If I miss you, I'm so sorry. Yazzie, I think I did say good night to you, sis. But if I didn't, have a good night. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. I think that's everyone. Sharon was here. Have a good night, sis. Good night. And I think that's everybody. Have a good night. Chat with you soon.